It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David as he talks with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
David, as always, it's great to have you in studio today. We're going to be back on the Verde Connect Project. Website is verdeconnect.com. We've got Dan Cherry, Yavapai County Public Works Director. Welcome back to studio. And then Yavapai County Supervisor Randy Garrison.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for sitting down. We had two public meetings last week, Tuesday and Thursday, Cottonwood and Camp Verde.
Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah. Cottonwood and Camp Verde, to go ahead and talk about this billboard that we got next to us right here, the different routes that are being proposed for the Verde Connect Project, which, correct me if I'm wrong, eventually will connect Highway 260 with somewhere down the road, Cornville Road.
That is correct.
Okay. So how did the public meetings go last week? Let's start there.
Well, we had excellent attendance at them. Roughly 100 people at each of the two meetings came and took the time to sign in and talk with us for a couple hours, and we heard a lot of both supportive comments as well as opposition, and we were able to answer a lot of the questions with regards to the alternatives that we've proposed and put out there for the public, asking for their comments on it.
And we're going to go through the alternatives. How many are there?
Seven.
Okay, there's 7 alternatives. So we'll talk about each one.
Well, there's 8.
Today. There's 8?
8.
8. We'll talk about each one on the show today and just kind of run them by in case anybody didn't get a chance to go to the public meetings. Now, if you don't get to go to any of the meetings and you still want to comment on it and look it over and really study it, go to verdeconnect.com, right? That's where I've gone for all this information.
That's correct. We have provided all the materials that we shared at the public meetings right on the website. It's easy just to have a PDF that you can pull up and walk right through all the boards that we had. And if you have questions, you can reach out to the team via phone or email or whatnot, and we're happy to meet and talk and go over things with you.
You're still taking comments too, right?
Oh, you bet. And the one thing I want to point out is these last two meetings, the routes that are presented here are a culmination of almost 50 public meetings. We've been nothing but transparent and open to showing the public what we're doing. And these last two meetings, we started out doing meetings as presentations and talking and taking questions from the audience, and it really led to a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration. And so these last two meetings, we just brought in a ton of staff. We set these billboards up all around the room, and then we had the citizens were able to come in and have one-on-one discussions about very specific areas of each of the individual plans that either did or didn't interest them. So we're learning as we go along, how to try and get people information better, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. But it's not because we haven't been putting it out.
Right.
We just got to get people on the website, and we'd love to get your comments. Even if you showed up at a meeting and turned them in writing, please get online and give us your comments. We're getting a lot of people that are supportive, but they don't feel they need to put in comments because they support the road and they think it's going to go through regardless. And so, we're seeing probably more negative coming in, but we're getting a lot of positive support. So we got to get the people that really have a route that they prefer. Tell us why you prefer that route, what it's going to do for you, or what do you think it's going to do for your area, and let us know what you think, positive or negative. So
that's a good point. Yeah, get the positive in there just as much as the negative. And I think, Dan, when you and I talked last, you were really pushing the fact that these are going to be open house styled meetings where people can walk around and discuss with different people about whatever their concerns are or whatever they're really happy
and we
about.
got a lot of good feedback on that format too. I think we had 15 plus number of staff there, both from our design engineering team and from our office, and as well as some sub-consultants to the engineer. And people were very complimentary of having plenty of people around to get questions answered and talk about what it is we're proposing.
Okay. And Randy, before the show started, you mentioned that this is not a new idea. Well, maybe we could hit on that really fast.
Yeah.
This Verde Connector is not a new idea. It's been around for a while.
It was probably one of the biggest questions I got asked the entire day, both days, because we were at both of those meetings as well, answering questions from the public, and everybody keeps saying, why are you doing this? You know, how did you come up with this idea? And we didn't come up with this idea. About every 5 years, there's a transportation plan or a study that's done Verde Valley-wide regionally, and it comes up with all these different concepts and roads and projects that should be looked at and pursued to try and figure out how to move the traffic around the region and get rid of the bottlenecks and create a more efficient and open transportation system. And so for the last 20 years, there's been 4 studies. Every one of those studies has proposed this, as well as several other fixes to improve the transportation system around the Verde Valley. And Camp Verde also has their own community development plan and their own neighborhood plan. And this road, this connector through this area, has actually been on their plan for over a decade at this point. So, you know, we're trying to move forward, and we're doing it Verde Valley wide. We're not picking on this area. Back when the last transportation plan was put forward, this one right here, 180-page, 260 wasn't 4-lane yet. And it was recommended as one of the improvements. So now it is. So it's moving the traffic around. And one thing I think people don't understand is they think, you know, that people just sit back in a room and they envision, you know, how to screw up their life or how to fix things, you know, whichever the case is. Everything that's done in these studies is science. You know, we use traffic counts. We put traffic counters out left and right. We've got traffic counters out right now on Beaverhead Flat and Cornville Road, trying to get more accurate and consistently updated numbers on how the traffic's moving around the region. Cornville Road was overwhelmingly used during the construction process for 260, and there was this hope that a lot of that traffic would move back over to 260 when 260 got done. That hasn't happened yet, and you know, Cornville Road is continuing to be impacted heavily. So, you know, this is just another section of the regional transportation system, and seen as a benefit to not just Camp Verde but the entire region. So, but it has been on the books, and it has been a suggestion for over 2 decades, and it's been inside Camp Verde's general plan for over a decade.
Okay, we've got a minute before we have to take a break. So I have one question before we go to the break. This is going to happen. This road will happen. The money for the bridge is there. So it's not a matter of the road will or won't happen. It's going to happen. We're just trying to decide where it's going to go. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So that's going to happen. So we're going to take our first break. Again, the website is verdeconnect.com. I got Yavapai County Supervisor Randy Garrison in the studio today, along with Yavapai County Public Works Director Dan Cherry. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Bathroom? Oh, you know what? I was just in there. The line is like 10 people long. You know, I think I'll just... Dude, are you okay? You wouldn't believe what I was just thinking. I am definitely buzzed. Yeah. I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home. Smart man. Did you see how that dog was looking at me?
Show your customers how much they matter to you. Follow up with a real card in just 60 seconds with Send Out Cards. Send Out Cards makes it easy for busy professionals to leave a memorable impression. Stay in touch with a simple one-step process from your phone or computer to their mailbox. Call Judy today at 928-202-2557. That's 928-202-2557.
Been hearing about the crazy benefits of CBD? Find out how CBD can help you at Sedona's #1 resource, CBD Sedona. Come in for a free consultation and let our trained medical staff help you find the perfect product for you. Pain-relieving salves, full-spectrum oils, honeys, teas, cookies, and even CBD for pets. Ready to feel fantastic? Come on by CBD Sedona today.
Metaphysics. What does it mean? It's a branch of philosophy, literally beyond the science of matter. Sedona's University of Metaphysics studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience. Join 14,000 graduates in over 120 countries, helping others in counseling, coaching, ministry, and much more. The University of Metaphysics is here to serve the best in you so you can serve the best in others. universityofmetaphysics.com.
Welcome back to Countywide. Yavapai County Supervisor Randy Garrison in studio today. Yavapai County Public Works Director Dan Cherry. Also, we're talking about the future Verde Connector project, which is being studied right now. VerdeConnect.com. It's not really being studied, is it? We're narrowing down where it's going to go.
Certainly, but
right?
There's a lot of studying going on with regards to environmental impacts. Because we have this infusion of federal dollars for this project, we are mandated to go through the process of the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA is the word a lot of people will throw about, and that's really what we have before us between now and about a year from now, when we have to have an environmental assessment document complete that is out for public comment.
Okay, all right. Let's go through some of the alternatives here that we're looking at. I see some say, there's two of them that say not recommended. Why would those be not recommended? The alternative C3 South and alternative A1 North is not recommended.
Yeah, so I'll start with the northern one, the A1. That one not only has some significant topography challenges, there's the addition of an additional bridge to get across a canyon. It also is the longest of the alternatives, so it's driven cost up significantly, and we feel we have better alternatives to consider over that, so we kind of put it on there to show that we have considered it, but really in reality it is not going to get heavily serious consideration.
And that one goes from Thousand Trails, across the Verde River, and hooks up with South Cactus Road on Cornville Road.
Correct.
So people who aren't watching can at least kind of picture that in their head on listening to radio.
Yeah, and that one, one of the differences in that one is that's the only route that doesn't utilize the Beaverhead Flat Cornville Road intersection. So it doesn't also alleviate that getting traffic off of Cornville Road issue. It just makes a jog, so it continues to impact Cornville Road.
Gotcha.
So it really provides the least amount of benefit. But all these routes came from public comment, and public's coming in and drawing a line on a map and saying this is the one you should study, and they did. They went out and studied every one of them. So we have ones that got a lot of attention, and some of those move forward, and some of them have been deemed not necessary or not recommended to continue moving forward.
Alternative C3 South.
Yeah, so this one was considered, it connects to Beaverhead Flat Road intersection currently at Cornville, and proposed to come out somewhere in the vicinity of Old 279 at 260, but in between it follows Forest Road 119A, which has some topography concerns, especially when you come down the canyon on 119A. But more importantly is it goes right down Mahoney Road in the town of Camp Verde through a residential neighborhood, and we've had a lot of opposition from that neighborhood in regards to a connector through that area, and we would like to show that we're listening to them, but also be transparent enough that we can tell people this was considered, it was evaluated, and now we're to the point where we're reminding the public we're probably not going this way, but wanted to be open on it.
One of the other issues is that is the widest river corridor section, so that'll be the most expensive route to build, because the bridge is going to be so long, because we're going to have to span not only the river, the flowing river, but the corridor as well. So the further west you go, the narrower the corridor becomes and the cheaper the bridges are to build.
Gotcha. Okay, which one should we hit next?
Well, let's work from the north down. So we have an additional alternative A2 that connects at Thousand Trails and Beaverhead Flat Road, and that crosses the river up near the confluence of Oak Creek and the Verde River. It does cut through some private lands in the vicinity of Alcantara and Thousand Trails. Working south from there, we have a little grouping of bridge crossings just north of the town of Camp Verde that are kind of traversing a narrow section of the Verde River, taking advantage of a little more canyon-like setting there to limit the length of our bridge. And then they spread out in either direction depending on where it fits topography better on the east side and where we'd like to connect to on the western side of the corridor alignments. So connections at Curry Drive, and then potential of a new roundabout where old 279 and the Hayfield Draw facility are kind of the two primary points being considered for connectivity, in addition to Thousand Trails at the northernmost. There's a roundabout there as well. So
This is all on verdeconnect.com, right?
that's correct. If you go to
there.
verdeconnect.com, this is right on the front page. You click it, and it'll open up a nice view of this. We call it the roll plot because it shows all of the different alternatives all on one sheet, so it's easy to follow with your eye.
Can I ask you this? With the open house that you had last week, the 2 open houses, is there any routes right now that are looking like they're better than others?
No, we're trying to let the public process unfold and take in comments and things like that. And I know that some people have their favorites. Some of the people at this table have their favorites, but we're trying to honor the process and make sure that we're giving the public every chance they have to not be swayed by what our opinions are. So.
When is the deadline to have comments in? Is there a deadline?
We're aiming for comments by the end of this month, June 30th.
Okay.
But it's not like we're going to turn off the comment cards at that point. If somebody's out of town and they're missing this now, we would certainly accept comments in July. But come July, we'd like to move forward with making a recommendation and selecting an alternative to start studying in earnest, because we have a lot of work to do in front of us.
The NEPA process and the EIS, that's going to take, like you said, it's about a year process. Yeah, it's a long process.
And that's even at high speed. That is not.
That is high speed.
Yeah.
I've seen the Forest Service take years to do stuff like that. So
We need to be designed and turning dirt by about August of next year.
Certainly close. They have to obligate the funding at the federal level by the.
Can we do a timeline, right? Can you
Sure.
take me take me from now to for the rest of the timeline? How does it lay out? Go ahead.
So we've got roughly a year from now. Once let's start back. We need to set up a preferred alternative through this process we're working on now, and then we have about a year to get a document, an environmental assessment document, published, and then there's a public comment period between that published date and roughly midsummer of next year. We need to have public comment to be able to finalize that document and get it a recommendation from that as to whether we're going to move forward with this opportunity. And then from there, we'll have construction plans that will be moving forward and probably building within a couple years beyond that, is my guess.
We have to have the money spent by?
Have to have the money spent by September 2025. We need to have the money obligated by September 2020. That's really our deadline at this point that we're looking at. We'll be likely pursuing what we call a design build process on this, that we would, for some people that are in the construction industry, it's similar to what they call a construction management at risk process. You bring a design engineer and a contractor on board at the same time, and the design moves forward with the input of the contractor. It's kind of important for doing some value engineering and design and finding the best way to solve some of the problems that will inevitably occur.
Okay. All right. Let's take another break. When we come back for the end of the show, we'll talk about some of the reasons why the Verde Connect project would be a good project for the Verde Valley. Maybe we could do some of that. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. VerdeConnect.com is the website. Countywide, we'll take a quick 2-minute break and we'll be right back.
Starting in the late 1920s, Grandpa Gettle and his brothers laid the groundwork for what would become a family legacy. Almost 100 years and 100 patents later, Gettle's High Desert Mechanical continues to raise the bar of quality heating, cooling, and plumbing products and services in the Verde Valley.
Call Gettle's High Desert Mechanical, Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing at 567-2200 or online at GettlesHDM.com, providing solutions for your comfort. Don't settle, get Gettles.
Hi, this is Greg at Verde Solar Power. You know, Arizona has lots of clean, renewable sunshine, and we want to help you take advantage of it with our quality solar installations, and we offer to beat any written offer on a residential solar electric system. So bring us your electric bill and let us show you how solar power will save you money. We're located conveniently here in the Verde Valley and are dedicated to helping the valley go solar. So remember, the energy solution comes up every morning.
Hi, Todd of Todd's Appliances, your hometown appliance store. Studies have shown that when you buy from an independently, locally owned business rather than a box store, a lot more of your money stays local, therefore strengthening our community. From basic to high-end, we carry name brand appliances. Visit our store on Main Street in Camp Verde. With same-day, next-day service, we service what we sell what we service the least. ToddsAppliances.com, 567-3062.
Hi, I'm your host, Smokey Colbert, filling in for Smokey because after 75 years of...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Turns out there's much more to say. Nearly 90% of wildfires are caused by us humans being careless, dumping our used barbecue coals willy-nilly. Guess the song was wrong. We did start the fire. That's why I respect Mother Nature and her trees, whether coniferous or new car scented. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. We'll talk a little bit about why the Verde Connect project is a good idea. We've talked about the fact that it's going to alleviate traffic. Hopefully, that's one of the goals. And I think the last time you guys were here too, Dan, we talked about the fact that Tom Thurman was in studio, Supervisor Thurman. We were talking about how when 17 gets shut down, right now the wraparound for that thing is massive. I mean, it's all the way into Cottonwood, out Cornville Road, back to 17, and then up, where this could be one of the fixes for that.
Or into Sedona and back out 179 or 89.
Right. Yeah.
Or over Mingus. So we had it shut down this last year, and it went over Mingus. You know, they were trying to take semis over Mingus. That was the route. You know, so their traffic. You know, we get a lot of comments of people saying that, you build it, they will come. They're here and they're coming, and we got to start figuring out how to start. Put more fixes into the road systems we have to alleviate the pinch points that we have, and try and move traffic around to other areas to alleviate that stress, and just spread it out.
Verde Valley becomes more and more of a destination, not just because of the wine industry either. People coming out here for that Wild West feel, just to be in the desert near the Verde River. And it's just a Jerome, ghost town Jerome. Sedona, of course, brings a lot of people in, but it does. You could feel it getting busier and busier around here.
I've been very fortunate to get this job, and I've lived here forever. The family's been here forever, and as far as I'm concerned, the Verde Valley is the most beautiful place on earth, and unfortunately other people are learning that, and they won't quit coming, and it's all about quality of life. We have everything here. So it's going to continue to grow, and we're landlocked. We have 75% of the land in the Verde Valley is either federal or state owned. That only leaves 25% open for development. That means we're going to have just higher densities and more people living in smaller and smaller spaces. But they have to traverse this mammoth road system to get from point A to point B. So that's really one of the bigger issues with deciding a route for this Verde Connect project. Do we want it to help economic development, or do we want it strictly to move people from A to B, or do we want both? So that'll be a part of the larger conversation when we start picking a route, final route.
Right. When will we have you said the route actually picked will be very soon.
We're hoping sometime in July to have a recommendation to move forward on, because our consultants are chomping at the bit for getting things going, and they've already been doing some preliminary environmental work. There's been some species surveys and whatnot along the Verde River corridor that are ongoing at this time. But really, there's a lot of additional work that needs to be done along the whole length of the corridor to be able to establish where is a good spot for it. There may be tweaks here and there to get around cultural sites or endangered species or whatnot. We'd like to try to limit our earth moving as much as we can, so we're not creating visual scars and whatnot too.
Wow, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge.
Big challenge.
Big challenge, yeah. All right, but here it is. It's underway, so that's good. Randy Garrison, thank you so much for coming in. Randy's going to come in on a regular basis too. He's already promised. So, anyways, the website is verdeconnect.com. Verdeconnect.com. Go in there, make your voice heard through June 30th, and then as Dan mentioned earlier, they'll take comments after that too. But they would really love to have everything been by June 30th. So that is today's Countywide. As always, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.